Okay guys, so here we go on our first Wonderland journey. And to start out with, we're going to start small. So this is actually my favorite size to paint these little landscapes. And what I've done here is I used my ruler. This shape is 3.5 by 7. So anything close to that size to start out with is perfect for these little landscapes. So I drew in my shape and then I just use washi tape, and I really don't know what brand it is. I just pick it up at a local craft store, and it's just a good reason to buy all the washi tape, and it actually works pretty well. It doesn't tear the paper. So I just tape it off so I'll have a nice clean edge when I finish. I've also got a water container. I've got my paints already laid out, and I do suggest that even if you're using pan sets, like if you're using any colors from a pan set, take the pan out and put it onto a plate or a palette, because the space here is so limited. And this is going to get kind of wild and crazy. So I do suggest taking out your pan and putting it onto a plate. I've also got my little mat here, which is just cloth, crochet. You can also use a paper towel. You'll also need maybe a paper towel if we do any dabbing, we might. And then to do my moon shape, I just use a template. But the washi tape holders also work really well as moon shapes, or anything round you have will work. And then for the paint colors that we're going to use, I am using these colors, and I'll tell you what they are. I'm using Mineral Violet. This is a Holbein color. But any brand of Mineral Violet, and don't even get hung up on the exact colors that I'm using. So if you don't have Mineral Violet, do a test card of some blues and some purples together and just kind of see how they combine. So I don't want you to get too hung up on using the exact colors that I'm using. I don't even get hung up on it. So just experiment with different colors. The main thing that we're trying to do is really have a dark, I'm just going to pull this here so you can see it. This is used with these colors. So I want something really dark around my edges so that when I come into my moon, I can get much lighter. And that is really the function of this Mineral Violet. It's a very intense dark color. So you don't even have to go violet. You could even do like an indigo or any dark blue, dark purple that you have. So that's that. Mineral Violet, I'm using Phthalo Blue. I have Mauve by Cotman. This is a color that I use on almost every one of these landscapes. So if you want to get a new color, get this one. I love it. Then I'm going to use a teeny tiny bit of Hansa Yellow Deep. Once again, if you don't have this color, you can see this yellow here. It's a very warm yellow. It's almost orange when it comes out of the tube. But the beautiful thing about this is that you can really, if you add water, it really can get to a very light tone of yellow, and we will use it very sparingly. It will take over the world if you let it. And then I'm also using Permanent Rose. This is by Winsor & Newton, and this is just a really good all-around rose color. So those are my colors, and we will get started with the drawing part. So the cool thing about doing these landscapes is you really don't even have to know how to draw. Basically, you're going to draw a circle and some lines for the mountains, and then the trees are just shapes that you're going to use with your brush. Your brush is really already a tree shape. So for my moon, it's really up to you how big, how small. I'm going to use this one, which is 1 5/8. And when I do these that are kind of narrow and long, I like to put my moon kind of off to the side, but it's really up to you, placement, wherever you'd like it. So I put my moon in, and then For the mountain shapes, you truly are just going to start at the side, draw a line, just kind of a wavy line for your mountain. And I draw it all the way from one side to the other. It just helps me in my brain. I just like to complete it. And then I'll start the second mountain a little higher, make another wavy line, and we'll even do a third mountain in here. And then I just come back and lightly erase those lines that shouldn't be there. So now I've got myself 3 mountains. And another thing I'll tell you about making these landscapes is that, so I start with kind of a plan in my mind. And our plan this time is actually going to be very similar to this one. So we have a mountain in the background that really doesn't have a lot going on. It's just color. This one is much darker here. You can see this one's lighter, this is darker. We've got trees that will live in front of this mountain, so we need it to be a little lighter so that these trees can be a little darker and stand out. And then this area over here will be darker because this one I'm going to leave much lighter. You can see how much lighter this is than anything else because I did wording on it. And you can do wording, you could do more foliage here, however you want to do it. But this is our plan. So sky, moon, kind of a boring mountain back there that will have trees in front of it, darker mountain here, and much lighter in the foreground. So that being said, I start out with a plan in mind, but as I'm doing these, I really do let the watercolor do its own thing, which means you might have a plan, but be willing to change your plan. If something starts happening and the watercolor moves this way instead of that way, go with it and just kind of let the painting do its own thing. It's one of the beautiful things about painting this way. So with all that being said, let's get started.